Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is Joshua Muhammad Alagadmo, reporting in PPG, Philippine Politics and Governance. So we are now in the last branch of the government, the Judiciary. So before we start our discussion, have you ever wondered how a conflict between two individuals is solved? How justice is served when an individual violated a law? Or where can people ask for help when the government commits violation of citizens' rights? Well, these questions are related and will be answered in this branch. So without further ado, let us start our discussion. The Judiciary branch. Here are the following subtopics that we will be going to be discussing in this branch. The judicial power. What is the judicial power? It is the power to decide on legal disputes. Judicial power interprets the meaning of laws. It determines actual controversies, including rights which are legally demandable and enforceable. And it decides and pronounces a judgment and carry it into effect between persons and parties who bring a case before it for decision. The manifestation of judiciary independence. The judiciary branch is one of the three independent, co-equal, coordinate branch of the government. It is manifested in the following. Creation of the Judicial and Bar Council. It is a constitutionally created body that recommends appointees for vacancies that may arise in the composition of the Supreme Court. The council is composed of a representative of the integrated bar, which are a professor of law, retired member of the Supreme Court, and a representative of the private sector. Expanded power of judicial review. The 1987 Constitution expanded the concept of judicial power by granting the courts the power to determine whether or not there have been a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction on the part of any branch or instrumentality of the government. Fiscal autonomy of the judiciary. This means the freedom from outside control. Power to review proclamation of martial law and the suspension of the writ of habeas corpus. Security of tenure of the judges. This is intended to protect judges against the interference by any external or internal subject in a discretionary or arbitrary manner. And lastly, the Supreme Court as judge in presidential elections. So now that we know the power of judicial authority to resolve disputes, serve rights, we move on to the courts. Review courts. Review courts refers to a court's review of a decision of a lower court in order to determine whether an error was made. We have two examples, which are Supreme Court, which is the head, which we will be talking its roles later on. Court of Appeals. Court of Appeals reviews not only the decisions and orders of the regional trial courts nationwide, but also these of the Court of Tax Appeals. Second type is the trial courts. Trial courts is where the lawyer presents evidence and legal arguments to persuade the jury in a jury trial or the judge in a bench trial. We have three examples. Regional trial courts is the highest trial courts or the second level trial courts. Second are the first levels, which are the metropolitan trial courts, municipal trial courts, municipal circuit trial courts, and municipal trial courts in cities. We have special courts. Special courts are the tribunals that have limited jurisdiction over certain cases or controversies. we have the examples. Sharia law, or we may have already know. Sharia court has the powers similar to the regular courts, but the subjects over whom judicial powers are exercised are limited only to Muslim Filipinos. Court of Tax Appeals. This is which it retains exclusive appellate jurisdiction to review by appeal not only civil tax cases but also those that are criminal in nature. Lastly, Sandigan Bayan. This is a special court that has jurisdiction over civil cases including graft, corruption, and other offenses that are committed by public officers, employees, and those in government-owned and government-controlled corporations. Here is a presentation of the organization of regular courts, with the Supreme Court being the head, Chief Justice, followed by three courts: Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and Court of Tax Appeals. Under the Court of Tax Appeals, we have two, which are the regional trial courts, the highest level trial courts, and the Sharia district courts. Under the highest level trial courts, we have the first level trial courts, which are the metropolitan, municipal trial courts, and municipal circuit trial courts. Under Sharia district courts, we have the Sharia circuit courts. The role of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, or in Filipino, kataas-taasang hukuman, colloquially referred to as the Korte Suprema, is the highest court in the Philippines. The Supreme Court plays a very important role in our constitutional system of government. First, as the highest court in the land, it is the court of the last resort for those looking for justice. Second, due to its power of judicial review, it plays an essential role in ensuring that each branch of government recognizes the limits of its own power. It protects the civil rights and liberties by striking down laws that violate that constitution. Finally, it sets appropriate limits on democratic government by ensuring that popular majority cannot pass laws that harm or take undue advantage of unpopular minorities. So now we arrive at our last subtopic: qualifications, term of office, appointment, and removal of the members of Judiciary. For a person to be appointed to the Supreme Court, he must be natural-born Filipino citizen, at least 40 years old, must have been for 15 years or more a judge of a lower court or engaged in the practice of law in the Philippines, of proven competence, integrity, and probity. The members of the Supreme Court and judges of the lower courts shall be appointed by the President from at least 3 nominees. The President shall issue the appointment within 90 days from the submission list. The Justice of the Supreme Court may be removed from office through impeachment. Members of Supreme Court and the judges of lower court shall hold office in good behavior until they reach 70 years old. The judges of lower courts could also be dismissed by a vote of a majority of the members who took part in the deliberations on the issues of the case. So that is all for this discussion. Before we end this, let's have a quick question. What are the 3 examples of special courts? Comment down below your answers, and that is all for this video. Thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.